Get your motor running. Head out to the highway. Looking for adventure in whatever comes our way.
Yeah, darling, gonna make it happen. Take the world in a love embrace. Fire all of your guns at once and explode into
space. Born to be wild. Born to be wild. You're supposed to join in. Do the organ. Born to be more. I gotta get that old rocker. Born to be wild. You're really just gonna stand there and look at me?
Yes.
Whatever. Welcome back, America. It has been a very long time since we last spoken to you. Has it been? Or maybe it was just yesterday. It was just yesterday because we talked about The Walking Dead. So it was yesterday. I know, I remember because I was taking the all day to get the stuff ready to put up there so you can go and hear it and listen to it. So yeah, welcome back to the Whitebeard TK podcast. I am the best person in this room. I am one of your hosts. Mess around, I might be the only host. Why just stand there? Go get some tissue for your nose. I am T. Anthony Bland. Ooh, I did my whole government. I am T. Anthony, and well, of course, they see the name, they will see it anywhere, right? So it doesn't really make a difference.
No.
It really doesn't. So, I am one of your hosts. I am T. Anthony, aka Whitebeard, and standing next to me is the one, the only, the lovely, the greatest person to ever walk the planet of the Earth or even in Alpha Centauri. She has been to the moon and back. She has trekked across the Sahara Desert, all of Africa. Standing next to me is
TK.
Wow, you actually didn't have anything else to say this week? You're just going to go with the normal thing?
Yeah.
Boy, that allergy really must be kicking you in your tailbone. Sniffles. So, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, the last time we spoke to you, we were giving you an update. We were talking about this trip that we just took down to Tennessee, and the point was to go down there. We took that whole big long thing. The whole point was to go backpacking in Smoky Mountain, get our national park book stamped. So we were covering a lot of bases that time. Get our national book stamp to get a patch we could put on our car, and just be somewhere else in another state to escape this place that we live in. It was only temporary and we had to come back. Perhaps sometime during the show, I'll tell you what it was like coming back and a few decisions that, well, it doesn't really matter. So, yeah. It would have been nice if we listened to the last show so I can remember what we talked about so we don't go over things we already spoke about. But I do remember we were saying this time we were going to discuss the camping part, right?
Yeah.
And some of the equipment that we were testing out for the first time, and how we liked that, what we didn't like, some of the things that we've learned that we would change, but I think we spoke about that last time. And so yeah, I guess we'll start with that. We camped twice during this time, and it was because it was a halfway point. I don't like to drive, been driving since I was 21, but I don't like driving straight 12, 10, 8 hours or something like that. It becomes really annoying. And when we first started traveling, doing vacations with the kids when they were all younger and just before she was born, and then when she was born as a little nursing baby, we were raising 6 kids. And you can't take a 4-hour trip down to Maryland to visit family or go on a vacation 3 hours to Pennsylvania like we used to do, to Lancaster, and think that your kids are going to sit still In the back seat, 6 of them cramp up on top of each other, 5 of them to 6 of them, depending on what time or what year we were going down there, and expect everybody to be okay with just being in one seat for that many hours, and for me to have to drive straight. And I remember one year we went down to Lancaster, and we did something that we've changed and never did again. We were really hustling to get down there, and we had tickets to see Sight and Sound Theater for the day we were arriving in. We were getting close, but there was a lot of traffic and a lot of delay, and by the time we got there, it was too late for us to go in. They wouldn't honor the tickets, so they gave us tickets to come back that next year or that following, around Christmas time. And we were like, listen, we don't even own a car. We have to rent a car, and that's a lot of money to rent a car, to drive all the way down there and pay for gas. So this is pre-car. This is before my wife was gone, and so it was kind of hard and traveling. So what we started to do, and this is before all the kids had cell phones and stuff like this. We weren't doing that. Like they had like a Game Boy or something. But what I did was I would set up where we'd stop. I'd drive for like the max of 2 hours, and then we would pull over. And so just before we would leave, we'd go somewhere. We'll stop for a little bit, one of the first rest stops, let everybody go to the bathroom, get back in their seats. And we drive for about 2 hours, right? Or so. The half of the time we'd drive, and then we'd stop for like maybe 30 minutes for a meal break. If someone had to pee, we stop another, about an hour or so for like 10, 15 minutes to stretch the leg, go to the bathroom. And what we did was we stretched out the time, yes, to get where we needed to go, but it was a lot more restful. With all those kids, we used to had them assigned seats, and then we switch up the seating every time we stopped. So everybody had a different spot. One could be near the window, any other could not be near the window, or whatever it is, to make them all happy as much as they could traveling. So when the babies were the babies, they're in my wife's arms, so that worked out well. So I continued with that because you know what? I don't know about those people who drive straight hours like that and don't really stop except for go to the bathroom and get back in the car. That's a little taxing. So what we did was, in between, I split the drive, and we got a halfway point, and I looked up online. What's halfway between Sevierville, Tennessee, and New York? And it landed in, I forgot what part of Virginia. So when I found that spot in Virginia, I looked up a campground. Now, I've seen these campgrounds before. They're KOAs, but we've never stayed at them, and it's called Campgrounds of America, right, spelled with a K. I believe they're privately owned, and they've been around the business for a while. They're kind of like, you kind of see them on the road along the places, so like you could just pull in and do things. So that's what we decided to do. It's a little more pricey than staying at a state park where we usually do, which is like maybe $20 a day. This is a little bit more than that. And we have yet to try a BLM. I'm hoping sometime in the future we will do that, and that will be off the beaten path. A BLM is a Bureau of Land Management, which is public land. And so you could stay there. For what I hear, it's free. And so that's what we did. So we stopped there in Virginia, then we went on to Tennessee, and then we stopped there in Virginia on the way back. And so while we're doing this, we're testing out some new equipment, much of which we did not use when we were camping out in Smoky Mountain because, well, how would you like to carry those chairs up there?
Those bags are already too heavy.
Yeah, the bags are already too heavy. There was no way in the world we were going to be carrying up some chairs, and what else did we have? That would have only been the other thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the chairs would have been heavy, and we started out with some new chairs this year. We're not new, we were testing out some new chairs. And how I got to these chairs are because I've been watching a lot of people who we watch are overlanders, and they've all swore by these Hellenix chairs.
I think so.
It's Hellenix or Hellenix chairs, and they're folding chairs. I had to really look up this to see if I wanted to, if we're going to spend the money on this year, because it's not like we're going to spend the money and toss it out. It's something we'll keep, and perhaps maybe because, like she's saying, we ought to sell the cots that we don't use anymore. And I said, well, they were kind of heavy and cumbersome trying to put that together. And that's been with us since we first started camping.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, trying to put that up in the heat, and it's very heavy, trying to carry. So if I ever need a new cot in the future, then perhaps we'll buy a new one. Something a lot lighter and a little bit, you know, more packable than what we have. So she had the great idea of saying, let's sell it.
Yep.
Yep. Is that what we're going to get? Is yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, haven't sold it yet. Those are some things in the work of things that we want to do. So that was one of the things. So we'll get into that in a moment. But first, how did you like that